Have you ever thought about taking a trip to Gambia? For many people, Gambia is just a tiny dot on the map of Africa, often overlooked when choosing a travel destination. However, this small country holds more surprises than you might imagine. Surrounded by Senegal on three sides, Gambia has a long coastline along the Atlantic Ocean, offering beautiful beaches and a rich cultural heritage. But what makes Gambia even more remarkable is not just its majestic nature or rich cultural heritage, but the phenomenon of sex tourism for older women, a shocking but common aspect here. When Gambia comes to mind, you may first think of endless golden beaches, year-round sunshine, or river cruises on the Gambia River winding through lush tropical forests. However, the phenomenon of sex tourism has created a hidden brand for this country. No longer a secret, this phenomenon attracts a large number of older women from Europe, particularly the UK, to seek romantic relationships with young local men. In response, Gambia is focusing on diversifying its. Gambia is not just an ideal destination for those who love the wild nature, or who enjoy long beaches with crystal-clear water. This small country is also famous for a far less expected phenomenon: short-term romantic relationships between older European women and young local men. In recent decades, this phenomenon has grown, turning Gambia into a paradise for short-term romances, where emotions and material goods intertwine in unusual ways. This phenomenon is not only spread through word of mouth, but has also been publicly portrayed in documentaries, most notably by Channel 4. These films vividly describe how older women, especially from the UK, come to Gambia to enjoy the tropical atmosphere and short-term romantic relationships with young local men. These temporary romances not only bring short-term joy to female tourists, but also offer local young men a chance to earn extra income and sometimes even open the door to relocating abroad through marriage. The local young men, often referred to as beach boys, are the first to approach female tourists, not only to sell tours or souvenirs, but also to build intimate relationships. These young men are very skilled at charming and pleasing older tourists, using their natural charm, genuine attention, or simply their youthful energy. Many European women have described how, back home, they no longer receive attention from men, but in Gambia, they feel desired and loved. For them, Gambia is a place where they can rediscover youthful, passionate, and romantic feelings. A typical example of these relationships is the story of Alka, a 32-year-old man who married a 68-year-old British woman after starting their relationship through financial exchanges. Initially, their relationship revolved around material gifts, such as trips, clothes, and money. However, over time, they developed real feelings and decided to marry. Alka emphasized that he never asked for money from his older wife. Everything came from her voluntarily. Thanks to this money, he was able to build a house, support his family, and maintain a good relationship. However, not all of these relationships are simple. Sometimes they only last for a few weeks or months when the tourist ends her holiday and returns home. In other cases, these European women extend their trips or even return to Gambia multiple times, continuing old relationships or seeking new partners. Some women even decide to take things further by marrying their young lovers and sponsoring them to move to Europe to start a new life. However, not all of these relationships have happy endings, as age, cultural, and economic differences can create barriers that are difficult to overcome. Additionally, this phenomenon has created a hidden industry. The beach boys do not work alone, but are sometimes supported by intermediaries behind the scenes. Taxi drivers, hotel staff, and tour guides sometimes introduce young men to older female tourists, receiving commissions based on the value of the relationship. This has made the phenomenon of sex tourism in Gambia more organized and widespread than ever. It's not just older women seeking temporary love. Some younger male tourists are also drawn to the phenomenon. They get involved in romantic relationships with local women, and there are also cases where these relationships lead to marriage. However, since women usually don't control finances as men do, this phenomenon is not as widely known. Nevertheless, the rise of sex tourism in Gambia has raised concerns. These relationships are often criticized for their transactional nature and the significant age gap. Some argue that local young men don't truly love the older women, but see this as a way to make a living. However, for many older women, it's an opportunity to find joy and attention they no longer receive at home. A big question is whether this phenomenon affects Gambia's image. While many worry that sex tourism will become linked to the country's reputation, the Gambian government is working hard to build a sustainable tourism industry, focusing on the country's natural beauty, rich culture, and history. They hope that Gambia will be remembered for its beautiful beaches, stunning natural reserves, and genuine hospitality, rather than just a destination for temporary relationships. So, what do you think of this phenomenon in Gambia? Is it a matter of personal choice, or is it a social issue that needs addressing? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Sex tourism is not just for men. What makes Gambia even more unique is that this phenomenon is no longer limited to men, but has expanded to older women, creating an entirely new market for sex tourism. While sex tourism is often associated with men seeking temporary relationships in poor countries, Gambia has emerged as a paradise for older women, mainly from Europe, seeking relationships with young local men. These women often stay in high-end beachfront hotels where they can enjoy privacy and interact with local men. These young men, often referred to as beach boys, provide tourism services and act as guides, but are also willing to engage in romantic relationships with older female tourists. They are not just companions, but sometimes even become lovers, and, in some cases, husbands. Channel 4's documentary vividly portrays these relationships. It includes scenes of older women enjoying vacations by the beach, competing for the attention of young men, many of whom are only a quarter of their age. These relationships often start with lighthearted conversations, followed by romantic dinners, and end with mutual agreements on material exchanges. But not all these relationships revolve around money. Many women feel they have found real love in Gambia, and some even decide to marry their young lovers. For them, Gambia is not just a tourist destination, but a place where they can rediscover love and affection. Some women return to Gambia repeatedly to maintain their relationships with their lovers. They feel that these emotional experiences have helped them escape loneliness and the feeling of being forgotten at home. Some have even taken it further by sponsoring their young husbands to move to Europe to start a new life. However, not all these relationships end well, as the age and cultural differences often create challenges in married life. Social researchers have pointed out that this phenomenon does not only arise from the desires of female tourists, but also reflects the economic difficulties of young Gambians. Many local young men view connecting with foreign tourists as a way to improve their financial situations and find a better life. The contradiction, religion and conservative traditions. What makes this phenomenon even more fascinating is that most of Gambia's population follows Islam, a religion with conservative rules regarding relationships between men and women. So how is it that in a country where 95% of the population is Muslim, this phenomenon still happens openly? The answer lies in the social divide in Gambia. Although religion and tradition still play a significant role in Gambian life, the development of tourism and the need for livelihoods have created gaps for these non-traditional relationships. Meanwhile, many young people, facing high unemployment and a lack of opportunities, see relationships with foreign tourists as a chance to improve their lives. The opportunity to connect with wealthy tourists, especially older women seeking romance, has become an attractive option for them. Gifts, money, and even the opportunity to move to Europe have made local young men eager to engage in these relationships. One local young man said, "For us, it's a way to survive and support our families. These relationships not only bring money but also the opportunity to go further, to places we never thought we could reach." Supplementary information about Gambia's tourism economy. The tourism economy of Gambia. Gambia is the smallest country on the African continent, but tourism plays a significant role in its economy. Beach resorts, river excursions, and diverse natural landscapes have made Gambia an attractive destination for many international tourists. The tourism industry contributes over 20% of Gambia's GDP, providing jobs for thousands of local people and serving as an important source of income for many families. In particular, local tourism services such as guides, restaurants, and traditional handicrafts have enhanced community participation in this sector, helping to improve both the economic and cultural lives of the people. Besides leisure tourism, Gambia also attracts visitors due to its biodiversity and large national parks, where tourists can observe wildlife in their natural habitats. The Abuko Nature Reserve and the areas along the Gambia River are ideal for nature lovers. Gambia is also known for its rare bird species, attracting not only researchers, but also bird enthusiasts from around the world. With over 500 bird species, Gambia has become one of West Africa's top destinations for birdwatching. Gambian cuisine is another highlight not to be missed. Traditional dishes such as domota, a delicious peanut stew, or benachin, a unique mixed rice dish, offer memorable culinary experiences. Beverages made from ginger, baobab, and hibiscus also stand out in Gambian cuisine, bringing refreshing flavors from nature. The local markets are also perfect for tourists to explore vibrant street foods while learning about local culture through lively market scenes. Additionally, the growth of the tourism industry has raised concerns about environmental protection and sustainability. Conservation organizations and the Gambian government are working to implement sustainable tourism programs to minimize the negative impact of tourism on nature and local culture, while ensuring that tourism benefits future generations. Gambia and the future of romance tourism. While romance tourism in Gambia continues to attract attention, it raises many questions about the future of the country. The Gambian government is striving to promote sustainable tourism and build a friendly image that isn't solely associated with negative phenomena. However, with an economy heavily dependent on tourism, balancing economic development with the preservation of cultural and social values remains a major challenge. Romance tourism, largely involving Western tourists seeking relationships with locals, has led to social consequences. It has caused changes in family structures and traditional cultural values, and strongly impacted the nation's image in the eyes of international visitors. Moreover, this issue has increased the economic dependency of certain parts of the population on short-term tourism, rather than developing sustainable, long-term industries. In response, Gambia is focusing on diversifying its tourism offerings. The government and non-governmental organizations are working together to promote ecotourism, cultural tourism, and educational tourism to create lasting value for tourists. Community education programs have also been launched to raise awareness among the local population about the negative impacts of romance tourism and to encourage the development of more sustainable careers, such as tour guides, conservationists, and artisans. Additionally, Gambia is working to promote cultural and historical sites like the Kunta Kinte Museum, the James Island Historical Monument, and traditional villages to attract tourists interested in the country's heritage and traditions. The goal is to build a modern Gambia rich in identity, free from being solely associated with negative phenomena like romance tourism. If you were surprised, feel free to share what you know about Gambia in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the Eagle Discovery channel to not miss out on more fascinating stories.